Chapter 50. "Slow down!" Sasha yelled, her lungs two burning balloons. They had run for miles through drunken crowds, then pokey cactus, thorny mesquite, gravelly washes, and a pack of yipping coyotes. But the desert night had come alive for Emily, and the contrast between this Sonoran countryside and the thick forest she preferred was mind-altering in and of itself. This wasn't the lush green bosom of the mother, the waterlogged composter, the rumbling, noisy stomach. This was the ancient, prospecting hermit, the desiccated wisdom of millions of years, a living exhibit of conserving, preserving, hibernating, and knife-edge survival. They were diametrically opposed evolutionary mechanisms, the slow and steady, dusty tortoise versus the even slower, algae-covered sloth. But for Emily, right now, slow didn't even exist. "Emily! Hold up, damn it!" Sasha begged, her legs aching. "Never! Your fault, high desert priestess!" Emily squealed as the ingredients of the raramuri chased the ten in her mighty minty blood. She sensed every correct place to step, jump, and climb, like when they had run to the black seed tree, but amplified 100 times. Sasha was amazed by Emily's raw power, and had forgotten how intense it was to just wallop the whole lot instead of letting it dissolve. But Emily's mind wouldn't let her enjoy it. She looked over her shoulder, making bots out of shadows and saguaro limbs, but none of Coraline's minions from the club could have followed their path, or figured out the location of Sasha's ranch compound. All because they had traded their access to Cor for a pale forgery of the 10. On top of that, they had been arrogant enough to not even consider posting a guard at the back door, a total noob move. Hadn't they ever watched any cheesy 80s police shows? Finally, Emily saw the light from the driveway and looked like she was about to sprint the rest of the way. An exhausted Sasha grabbed a hold of Emily's hand to slow her down and utilize her towing capacity. "Cheater!" Emily cried, easing into a walking pace out of pity as she threw an arm around her best friend. Other jerks ran down the driveway. They must have gotten word from Rue somehow, or maybe one of the couriers had been at the club and beat them back home. The group stumbled inside, and Sasha turned to the panel by the door, entering a few taps on the touchscreen. As security shades slid down to armor the windows, locking mechanisms clicked within the thick door. Sasha immediately headed for the stairs and the underground conference room, everyone else following like a school of fish. "Whatever the highest DEFCON is, we are at it, people. I want all phones in Faraday cages now and freeze all courier runs. Everything and everyone goes dark, nothing in, nothing out. Not so much as a fart escapes this place until further notice, got it?" Having run these drills since the ranch was established, everyone knew their job and got to work. They knew what they'd signed up for, prepared for, but Emily was utterly lost and crawling out of her skin. She needed to move, keep moving, touch soft things, eat fucking fantastic foods, and all right now. Sasha could see it and handed her off to one of the resident EMTs. "Here, let Emily run laps until she wears out. Keep her hydrated. Oh, and she vomited earlier, so work your magic. And, breath mints," Sasha whispered, even though Emily could hear her, making her laugh. The woman nodded silently, a toned and serious-looking 20-something with wavy red hair. She took Emily's hand, leading her off to the running corridor that circled underneath the estate. The swimming pool, Sasha figured, might have ended badly, despite how much Em loved the water. The muscle pain and fatigue from their escape finally caught up to Sasha, forcing her to collapse into one of the faux leather office chairs. Desert debris and sweat fell off her face and arms onto the reflective black glass of the table. Her usual crew of reliable dirts gathered around and plied Sasha with electrolytes, snacks, ibuprofen, and questions. She almost choked from gulping the cherry lime drink, slamming it back on the table with a spray of condensation and red liquid. Sasha felt suddenly bombarded by the high lumens of the overhead lights. The cacophony of people talking, the sudden influx of nutrients in dextrose, and the 10 changed again. It suddenly shapeshifted, rolling like a crocodile in her gut, revealing another of its many faces. Pinche chingaderas, she thought with a knowing love-hate chuckle. Soon, a calm washed over her. Everything turned into white noise, reminding her of napping under a window AC unit when she was a child. Her tired eyes stared at the spilled liquids mixing with the desert dirt and making mud. In an instant, she had a flashback to the trailer on the beach, when her tears revealed the secrets of the pools after millennia of waiting. But then, another flashback, standing face to face with Coraline, with their guns drawn and destinies almost solidified. Sasha tried to deviate, call out to Coraline, and reason with her, all to no effect, because the quantum wavefront wasn't in the trailer or the jungle. It was emerging now, being experienced by her in the conference room. Sasha realized with a shock that these weren't flashbacks. She was actually bilocating into the past. But as soon as she had absorbed that truth, those old memories splashed back into the pool of Newtonian history. Once again, she bilocated, but this time into the space of her powerful prophetic vision of future history. Sasha pushed hard, willing any distractions in the conference room to shrink and silence themselves. Then, just like that, she was high up. Laughter, the smell of wine, and smoke? Another detail, a new detail. But Emily never mentioned smoke. She kept it from me all these years. Sasha was equally divided in seeker space now, trying to keep a foothold in the conference room, yet emerge into her future embodiment on the rooftop. But right before she could fully precipitate into her yet-to-be body, she was pulled from her trance. The sounds of the main door unlocking echoed down the stairs, and a few hands went to guns. But a disoriented Sasha still had enough sense to give a "belay that" gesture. "It's one of us. Anyone else would have had to blow the door off," Sasha said, impressed but annoyed at how quickly her crew chose the spray lead option. Sharp footsteps and squeaky heels ran towards them, as Rue and her cell of dirts poured into the quiet room with a clamor. "Is everyone okay?" Sasha asked, wondering how the hell they got out unscathed. "Yeah, those bots were minor league shits. Probably level 2s or 3s, Rue reported. Good. Listen, you handled yourself well tonight. I mean it," Sasha said, learning not to hold back on positive reinforcement from her old life. Thanks," Rue replied, sheepish suddenly. Compliments were not a fixture of her childhood. She much preferred insults. At least she knew how to respond to those. "Earlier, though," Sasha started in on Rue directly, "you said you ran into Coraline, on a train? At this point, she's probably one of the richest, if not the richest person on Earth. What the hell was she doing on a train by herself, unguarded?" Sasha demanded. "Not sure, but she tried to method act her way out of it. Coming off as a bumbling Reggie," Rue explained, a pensive scowl on her sculpted face. Sasha sat and thought. She was getting drowsy again, but her energy picked up a little when Roof ambled in, his shining eyes happy to see her. She smoothed his black fur and kissed the bridge of his soft white muzzle. "I knew they were out there somewhere. We had the stats. Even the Reggies reported seeing them in the wild, so to speak. Shopping and whatnot. Like they had just spotted a damn rock star or something. But not in these numbers, not this brazen. And not high on our herbs, dancing in my club. Which demands the question, how long have they been coming around?" Sasha asked, not wanting to believe that her dirts had been selling the 10 to bots. Where Rue came from, snitching wasn't an option. Now she looked more nervous than confident, glancing side to side to her crew. But all they offered were guilty shrugs and averted eyes. "I see," Sasha replied in a calm, clipped tone as she stood up, shoulders back, cracking her neck from side to side. Rufus, always the wise old man, took off for his doggy bed and favorite chew toy, nails clicking on the smooth floor. Sasha merely had to think of the blue flame, and like magic it was there for her. That swirling snow globe inferno of lapis lazuli and sapphire. Sasha may have evolved after spending years cultivating kumbaya in altered states, but she was still the same focused, driven, and powerful woman she had always been, and at the moment, still just as hell-bent on protecting an underground empire rivaling Coraline's. The crew sensed something had changed inside Sasha, prompting a healthy step back. Some of the more advanced practitioners could see an energetic distortion, a spherical disturbance in the air around Sasha, as if the light was bending oddly around her, highlighting curves and features in a soft halo effect. However, Sasha projected a hypnotic ball lightning cyan shell for Rue Lux of the purple quartz. Yeah, Rue took an extra step back. All right, Sasha continued. Before I have to shove a talking stick up someone's ass, would you all be so kind as to... It's complicated, man, one of the kids blurted out. Well, dumb it the hell down for me, why don't you? Sasha hissed, barely keeping her calm. It was a statement, not a question, and it clearly had a fuse attached. Look, Rue started. We don't sell them fuck all right? But no matter how tight we keep our security, human or otherwise, there are always leaks, Sasha. We are dealing with multinational companies, supply chains, and guerrilla grow-ops. There will always be a handful of shady bastards somewhere in the mix. And that means anyone can score pieces of the 10, maybe even stack it like us. But without our training, Regis can't use it like we do. And the bots, they... Short circuit, Sasha said, finishing Rue's thoughts as she remembered their conversation at the club and her early experiments with entheogens and technology. Yeah, they can't send or receive data. Their nanites fight the neurochemicals, the actives, the shifts in perception. There's a reason that Regis and bots call our medicine recreational drugs. Because you and I and all the other dirts know that the 10 is about work. It's a lifestyle for us, a challenging, grueling path, not a weekend retreat or a rave, Rue said, flustered but still collected. You're not telling me everything, are you? Sasha said, as neutrally as possible. She wanted answers, truth. And if she had to delay her wrath 5 more minutes, so be it. You knew we had run-ins, usually when they are short-circuited. But we also recently had that rash of low-level suppliers getting hit. But in the last few days, I also got calls about safe houses and rentals being breached. Some homes have been tossed, but all they took was 10 supplies. I couldn't understand why. Then after the train in Coraline, I reached out. Beyond our local cells, our regional territories, even to the kind of groups I came from, Rue said, running a hand over her hair to self-soothe. Rue trusted that Sasha wouldn't expound on her past, or how she had ended up on Sasha's doorstep. But the other dirts in the room still made her skin crawl with paranoia. Turn it down. Half volume, half speed, Rue told herself. It was her mantra to remember that the only guaranteed effect of the 10, for her, was amplification, good or bad. Well, I didn't know the two things were connected until today, all right? The thing is, Rue continued bravely, oh, this should be good. Give me one more excuse, I dare ya, Sasha thought, loading up her searing, punitive response. We are mingling, coupling up, Rue said, with a level of worry on her face that far exceeded her years. And even a furious Sasha could tell that the concern she saw in Rue's pleading eyes was for the safety of all the dirts. What now? Come again? Sasha responded, flabbergasted, as her dressing down suddenly evaporated from shock. Yeah, you got bots living secret lives, turning off or dulling their sys when they leave their headquarters, their businesses, wearing the proverbial tinfoil hat to disrupt their cyber aspect and snub core. They got second homes, hell, some have second families. Most of it is off-grid, walls all shielded and whatnot. Crazy, crazy tech, Rue said, her face animated. No, Sasha said flatly. Yes, and it gets worse. Somehow, us dirts, are sneaking into that big-ass glass fortress to get it on with bots and broom closets. Or robot sweeper closets, whatever. You get my point. Jesus, Sasha said, her blue flame snuffed by the informational sucker punch. She fell back into the chair, almost pushed by the flex and assertiveness of Rue's psychic armor. Even as Sasha lost her focus, the grape candy-colored facets of Rue's quartz scepter were frosting over with stability from her sheer force of will. Damn, she is the truest dirt I've ever seen. Hell, stronger than Emily. She'll make a great navigator someday. Wait, what? Where did that word, it feels so familiar. Everyone in the room could tell that their leader was drifting off somewhere. Seeing that familiar relaxation, Rue pressed on regardless. So, yeah. It's crazy on the streets, Sasha. You're just never out there. Her words had a deep sadness running through them. Sasha did know most of the young woman's backstory. What Rue had overcome in her Reggie life. How hard she had fought to keep the secrets of the 10. The integrity of the movement. And who knows what else and at what cost. If Rue Lux said the streets were crazy, then a splash of unusual shame bloomed on Sasha's forehead, making it cold and sweaty. Thank you, she said, staring so earnestly into Rue's eyes that she had to look away. Sparing her further discomfort, Sasha looked to the rest of them, her crow's feet crinkling with gratitude. Seriously, thanks, everyone. And I promise from here on out, things are going to change, get better. Any further issues, just come to my new head of security. Rue cursed, then smiled, her fellow cell members hooting and hollering. Now, clear out. I need to crash, Sasha said, rising wearily and shooing them back up the stairs. Sasha had to integrate the day's events before completing a sleep cycle. Otherwise, all the memories and insights would get mixed into her dreams, possibly contaminating Sasha's subconscious and skewing the resulting revelations. The 10 is always different. A goddamn tilt-a-world of tears and rapture, Sasha thought with a crooked smile, shuffling down the hall. She preferred her personal isolation tank upstairs, set up just so. But tonight she would rough it down here in the unofficial barracks. The top of the multi-level facility was home, as far as she was concerned. Sprawling, yes, but no wasted space. Precisely decorated and furnished to aid and comfort the people who had to do all the hard things. It was an odd mix of a hacienda, a Greek temple, and a Palo Solari fever dream, but it worked. However, the next floor down was stark, surgical, and built for speed. It was definitely an abrupt transition from bamboo, wood, and overstuffed everything to stainless steel, cement, glass, and stone. All of it was designed to be sanitized in a hurry, perhaps with fire. Space was tight, occupancy precisely calculated, and in stereotypical Sasha paranoia, or just over-engineering, not one but 3 blast doors could cut it off from the friendly, fragrant love fest of the ground floor. She prayed they would never have to test any of her more dystopic emergency protocols. Passing the bunk rooms, she headed towards the showers. Inside one of the metal half-tubes, The warm water cleansed all the dirt and distinctive tan sweat off her weary frame. Maybe that was one of the ways the bots had tracked down some of her people. Heightened native smell, or possibly olfactory sensors. Who knew what all those stupid locks could do? Stop analyzing everything, Sasha. Relax already, just melt. After a few minutes under the massaging jets, she felt her breathing take on that familiar echo. It was a sign that her conscious mind was becoming subdued by the intimate push and pull of air through her nose, throat, and lungs. With a squeak from the chrome knob, she grabbed a thick, warm towel. Not to dry off, but to wrap her shoulders for the cold walk to the float tank. Further down the hall, she opened one of the narrow float room doors and stepped into a closet-sized changing room. Hanging up the towel, she stared at the hatch. Should have made them bigger, she thought with a chuckle. Contorting herself to stick a leg into the warm, salty solution. As she exited Newtonia and entered the sacred domain of the 10, Sasha uttered those two familiar words. Show me.